Happy Friday, Stampin' Friends! Today we're gonna make a fun card using our new product of the month for July 2026, the Begonia Belle stamp set. But we're gonna be doing a fun stenciling technique using our Stampin' Up! Masks, and I'm so excited to share that with you. So let's get started. All right, well, here is the new Begonia Belle July 2026 Stampin' Up! Product of the month. And so you can get this as a purchase with purchase for only $5 with your $75 or more order in my online store. And it is such a fun set. Now, fun fact, my grandma on my mom's side used to live on a street called Begonia Street. So this is a fun set that just makes me think of her for sure. So this is the card we're gonna make using that set. You can see it's a two-step stamping for the flower, the begonia, and also for the leaves. And so we're not gonna use the leaves today. We're gonna use that fun flower. And it's really a good one. But what the star of the show today, I think, is our stenciling that we're gonna be doing. And so this is a really easy technique that you can use to create like your own designer series paper, your own backgrounds and things. So these are the waves and dotted. They are 12 by 12 Stampin' Up! And Stampin' Up! Calls them decorative masks. I call them stencils because that's kind of what they are. And I love that they're made out of this really thick plastic, so they're not going to get damaged with use, and they're super fun and easy. So we're gonna be using the dots today. Aren't they so cute? But there is also this awesome, they call it waves background, so where you can create some water, you can create kind of like a beachy fun theme, but this print is also really good. I've seen some really awesome creations making it into like a giraffe print, things like that. So many options with these two masks, these two decorative masks, and they come in a set. They're 12 by 12, great for scrapbooking or card making or any kind of paper crafting, right? So we're gonna use the dotted one today. And I'm gonna bring just a piece of grid paper behind, kind of will help you to see the dots on there. And you can use them vertically, up and down, right? Or horizontally, side to side, whichever you prefer. This one I actually did vertical, so maybe today we'll do horizontal. So I've got a piece of basic white here. And before I forget, let me pop up my blog at stampinqueenbee.com. This is where you can find any past videos or tutorials, past tutorials. Every time I do a video, I just love you to watch and learn and not worry about writing down measurements. So if you'd like the measurements for today's card, you can go to my blog at stampinqueenbee.com. There will be a pop-up that allows you to sign up for my free weekly Buzz Bulletin email. That's what I call it. And I just send out a free PDF that you can print with each of my videos. That way you don't have to write down any measurements, the supply list. There's a picture of the card each time. And that is just my gift to you for watching, for liking, subscribing, taking part in my classes, supporting me in all the ways. I just appreciate you guys so much. So let me share with you a couple of tricks in using our stencil here. So we've got our basic white layer. That's what I'm gonna use. So I'm just gonna set that down. And I just like to kind of align, before I do anything, I like to kind of align where do I want my dots, right? Because we could do them on a vertical, right? Or on an angle. We could do them horizontally, we could turn our stencil, we could do them vertically. That's how I did the example that I have for you, but today I think we'll do horizontal. So a couple of things that you can do to make sure that it stays lined up. So one thing, you can take actually like a Sharpie pen, and you could, in fact, let me just grab one. like a permanent pen, and these will come off with like an alcohol wipe, so it doesn't even stain it or anything. But when I line up my dots, So I'm just using my paper here. We can actually take like a permanent marker and make like the corners so we know where to line up our paper, right? You can just take an alcohol wipe and that'll come right off for the next time. That's one way to do it. The other way that you can do it is kind of line that up like you want it. And we can flip this over. And actually I have those marks, so that helps, right? Because you can even see them from the back. So we can line that up with our marks. And then I like to take these little sticky tabs on the back side and just sticky tab my layer to my big mask stencil. And then it just kind of holds that in place. And I have the grid paper underneath because I'm going to use a blending brush and I just don't want it to get all over my table. So we're going to use Secret C here today, Secret C ink, to create our polka dot background. And look at that, I just stuck my finger in there. Do you ever do that? I seem to do it with the darkest colors. Good thing I have some wipes right here handy, right? I can get that off so it doesn't get all on my project. Okay, so we're just gonna take our Secret C blending brush. We're going to ink up our blending brush. We're gonna hold our stencil down. It shouldn't move with those sticky tabs, but it's kind of handy to just hold it in place, right? And then we're just gonna start off our page a little bit and kind of go circular motion all over those dots so we can reveal this beautiful polka dotted background. And the lighter that we get our ink, the lighter those dots will be. I kind of like doing this with blending brush because then they're variegated, right? Some are darker, some are lighter. Can go back with a little more ink to darken those up. And once we think those are all covered, then we get to reveal, just put that to the side there. We get to reveal our beautiful design. So I just pop that up, take off those little stickies, and then we have our fun polka dotted background. So we just created our own designer series paper, and it can be in any color ink that we have, right? So do you see how the dots are, some are a little bit darker, some are a little bit lighter? I love that look. So, and these are really easy to clean. You just grab like a wipe or something and they just come right off, right? A wipe or a little wet towel and they will come right off. And if you have an alcohol wipe, let me show you real quick. So those permanent markers that I used, look, just rubs right off with a little alcohol wipe. So super easy to clean these for the next time, right? Okay, so we've got that piece done. And now I'll bring in some other layers. We've got another piece of basic white. So remember all those measurements, they'll get emailed out as long as you're a part of my Buzz Bulletin. So you want to make sure and sign up for that or go on my blog and you'll be able to find each week's videos. Okay, so we've got our sentiment, and this is part of that Begonia Belle Product of the Month set, sending lots of happiness your way. We're just gonna stamp that in Secret C ink just to the left of this basic white layer. And then we're done with our Secret C ink. And now we get to stamp this beautiful begonia flower. So I'm gonna use Crisp Cantaloupe here. So we've got that. And I wanted to share with you a couple of things. So this is a 2-step stamp. So we've got our big outline, and then we have the smaller one that will fill in our flower. Now a couple of things. So I personally like to do the darkest layer with the full big outline and then fill it in with the lighter one, the smaller one. And so I'm going to show you how that works. This is a different color. This is Melon Mambo. So this is how I like to do it, where the darkest one is the outer layers and the inside is the lighter. Now you can flip-flop that, but you will get an image that looks more like that. So I just wanted to share with you an example so you kind of saw which way you might prefer. The other thing that I wanted to share is you want to make sure when you're stamping these that you do a lighter and a darker of the same color, or that you pick two colors that are very different. Because I did two of our yellows together, and so I just want you to see that this is Crushed Curry with Daffodil Delight, which are two different colors. One is darker than the other, but they're very similar, and so it's hard to tell the depth of the beautiful begonia flower, right? It almost becomes like a blob, and so looks very different than the definition you see, especially in this bottom one, right? So just a couple of tips there for you. So we're going to grab that grid paper here again. So the first one we're going to do is that big outline. So we're just going to ink up the bigger of our begonia flower here. Get it nice and inked. And then we're going to make sure there's enough ink on there. Yep. Okay, and then we're just gonna stamp this right next to our sentiment. So we're just gonna kind of hold that down, let all that ink transfer nicely. And there we have our beautiful outline. I mean, it sort of looks pretty just like that, right? But let's fill it in with this 2-step stamp. And so there's a couple of things I want you to see. You can see there's kind of like this on, let me grab a darker piece, maybe that will help. So do you see how there's like, it kind of looks like a crab's legs right there? So that's one area you can look at to line up. But right here in the middle, there is kind of like this, if you tilt your head to the left, it sort of looks like an ice cream cone. Like you've got the cone and then the top of the ice cream. That is where I look at to line up, because this petal here, if you tilt your head to the left, it does look a bit like an ice cream cone, right? There's like the little cone and there's the ice cream. I don't know, maybe I just want an ice cream today. But that's my little tip on how to line that up. So we're gonna use our crisp cantaloupe again, but this time we're gonna stamp it off so we get the second generation color or the lighter color. So I'm just gonna ink this up. We're gonna stamp that off. And then I'm looking through my stamp and lining up that ice cream cone. That is what I have found to just be the easiest way to line that up. Then I'm just gonna stamp that down, let that ink transfer, and now we've got our multi-dimensional, beautiful flower there, right? Our beautiful Begonia Belle. Okay, so now let's put all of this together. This is how quick and simple this card can be. I love those masks because it really is like a fast way to create a fun background that is super easy and wow, right? All right, so we've got our thick basic white card base here. I'm just gonna line that up. I'm gonna use my bone folder to just burnish those edges, and I like to flip it and burnish them again and just make sure that it's nice and flat. Then we're gonna take and layer this baby up. Layers, I think, really make a card pop, and so that is no different with today's, right? So we've got a crisp cantaloupe cardstock layer here, and remember, all the supply list and all of that will be on today's free tutorial that you can just print. The link is in the email I send out each week, and it's just super easy peasy to save it to your files or print it for your idea book. Easy peasy, right? Good reference sheet for sure. Okay, so then we're gonna take that beautiful dot background we created, and you can, it doesn't have to be on white, it could be on any color, right? I just love the pop a good white gives us, right? So we'll just center that up, and then I've got a piece of Misty Moonlight here, Misty Moonlight, And we're just gonna adhere this to our Misty Moonlight layer. Secret Sea and Misty Moonlight are really good, what they call color buddies. They play well together, right? Okay, so we've got that. Now, if you want to sparkle, I did not do that on our example here, but if you want to sparkle this flower up, you can absolutely take our shimmer brush in Crisp Cantaloupe and add, in here, add some sparkle to those darker layers. If you want to just kind of color right over, it adds just that little bit of extra pizzazz, right? So that is an option as well. If you love some extra sparkle, these make it real easy to just kind of go over that. Wink Estella would work too. This shimmer brushes just add a nice bit of color on top of that. So it will just give us, it will just give us a little bit of extra sparkle to that flower. So that's an option as well. Then we'll bring in our dimensionals here, flip this over, and let's just go ahead and add dimensionals to the back here. I like it to really be sturdy, so I'll just go ahead and add them all around there. And I've got my little bowl here that I like to just pop my dimensional backings in for super easy cleanup, and then they don't end up all over, right? All right, a couple more, and we will center this onto our card base here. Those lines make it really easy to kind of line this up, the lines of the dots, right? So we've got that on there. That is our beautiful card. And we're gonna finish it up with a little bit of bling, of course, right? So the bling I am using today comes from our Strawberries and Dots embellishments. And there is this beautiful Misty Moonlight. Goes perfect with our layer, right? And so we're just going to take a few of these, and I'm just using my Take Your Pick tool here. I like the pointy end of it, and we'll just do our triangle of embellishments right there in the corner. So that is our card today using the beautiful Begonia Belle product of the month for July of 2026. So thank you so much for joining me today and every week, of course. I appreciate you guys more than you know, and I can't wait to share our next project with you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.